Folks, I'm sitting here with Commissioner John McMillan. We've actually got the statistics. I hate to read them to you, but the agriculture is 70.4 billion. And timber is number one at 21.4 billion. Poultry and egg is second at 15.1. Soybean, corn, and wheat production all lopped together at 577 million. Greenhouse production is at 561. 561 million is fourth. Beef production is fifth. Cotton is sixth at 290. Peanuts seventh, and catfish eighth. That's the economic list. Timber, poultry, soybeans third, greenhouse fourth. That's a growing industry.
It's growing, and when you add landscaping and other turf grass and so forth in with it, that is significant and maybe the fastest growing sector right now of agribusiness.
7,000 jobs.
Yeah.
In the state of Alabama, 122,000 jobs in timber production, 86,000 in poultry, almost 11,000 in soybean, and 7,700 in beef. 7,000 jobs. John, I guess that's one of the growing industries in it, greenhouse.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is.
You mentioned about that area in Mobile that doing a lot of that and shipping a lot of it out too.
Yeah, Mobile and Baldwin counties are the largest. We have a lot of horticulture and greenhouses and so forth statewide, but those two counties are really into it.
John, if you had to name, I know you've done an excellent job under trying circumstances with the budget and that sort of thing. If you had to name the thing you're proud of in your first term, I know you're going to run for a second term, so you're fortunate to be served 2 terms. You serve 8 years, but so far in the first 3 years, what's the proudest thing you've been able to do on this trying time as Agriculture Commissioner?
Steve, I think it would be that we have now, I feel like, stabilized the agency, and we're starting to rebuild and restructure things like weights and measures and some other areas. And that's really the reason I'm particularly interested in serving a second term, because as you know, things don't move as fast as you would like to, for them to in state government. I have surrounded myself with a fantastic staff. We've got great professional employees over there, particularly our section heads, and now we've taken care of some of the main things like new roof, air conditioning, heating system that had been neglected. And I just think we are well positioned now to start to have a much more positive impact on our responsibilities.
Well, it's a vital industry. Tell our viewers again, where agriculture is 40% of the state's economy.
That's correct, with this economic impact study.
Wow. John, going back to politics, all 5 of y'all of the 7 constitutional officers have very little, if any, opposition. The governor's has a smooth sailing, Kay Ivey, you, Luther Strange, and Young Boozer all have pretty clear sailing. 2 minor statewide jobs may have opposition. But you know, as I mentioned earlier in the show, it appears to me that you and maybe Young Boozer and some others who are running for some of these constitutional offices are doing it for the right reason. I mean, you're doing it to do a good job for agriculture, which you grew up in and know a lot about. And, but you know, interesting about it, I've kind of done a rudimentary or a cursory, not a study, but a thought about it. They're not as big as agriculture has been to the state of Alabama. I can't recall an agriculture commissioner moving to governor. Can you think of anybody who's done it in our life? I know A.W. Todd ran for governor a couple of times, but I don't think an agriculture commissioner's moved and that's not been the case in other states. That was a stepping stone, especially in Louisiana and Georgia.
Yeah, in some other states.
During the early years, especially Georgia, that was kind of the stepping stone job to governor. Was agriculture.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's indicative, I think, of what I would say is the biggest problem we have at agriculture and industries, and that is the general public has no idea the way we interface with them and take care of them as in the consumer role, especially on a daily basis. You know, it's just everything. It's food safety, it's pesticide industry regulation. It's the weights and measures, and the list just goes on and on. Everything from, you know, beekeepers and nursery industry and all of those. And We are important. This agency is really important. In fact, I'm probably not objective, but I'd say behind the governor and the attorney general, in my experience in state government, this is probably the most important agency.
I would have to agree. I'd say that in order of importance in public policy, governor, attorney general, and then agriculture commissioner.
And the general public. It's one of the things I've said about if I have the opportunity to serve 4 more years, I'm going to spend a significant amount of that time trying to educate the public and correct that misinformation or lack of information.
And those of you watching, if you live in an urban area like Montgomery, you may think agriculture commission doesn't affect you, but you go to the grocery store and pick out your meat, and they've made sure it was inspected properly. So you've got the right kind of meat when you buy it.
Exactly right.
And the vegetables and any kind of produce you're producing. One thing John's been slack on to show you he's not trying to wear a political hat is they always say that one of the best things about agriculture is they get to put their name on the gasoline type thing. Yeah. You failed to put your name on there. You've been there 3 years.
Well, we actually made that commitment during the campaign.
Oh, I see.
That I was going to find a more productive use for that space on that sticker.
Okay, well that was good. that was a good thing you did that. I wonder why I hadn't seen your name on there, but you made a promise not to do it. Folks, we got to close shop on this thing. Our guest tonight has been the State Agriculture Commissioner, John McMillan, who's finishing up his first term, running for second term, and we're glad to have John on the show tonight, and we hope you viewers will turn in again next week for Alabama Politics. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This has been Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, a production of Troy University Television. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Troy University, its administration, faculty, staff, or students.